the worlds of film and architecture and fashion and music and the internet are all morphing and merging together. So our view was, let's put together a series involving critics, some of the world's great critics. Let's bring them to Toronto. Let's have them interviewed by our own great critics. The reason we went after music, architecture, and fashion is that these three critics are of such renown that we knew that they would be very popular with the audience. Each critic will speak for 20 minutes. Then they will each be interviewed for half an hour by some of our leading critics. And then there will be a nice long Q&A afterwards, because we know people are going to have all kinds of questions. Paul Goldberger is the Dean of Architecture Critics around the world. He is the architecture critic for the New Yorker, and he was the architecture critic for the New York Times. And it was while he was there that he won the Pulitzer Prize. He has written innumerable books, the most recent of which is a book called Why Architecture Matters, which is a guide for people like you and me who are not architecture professionals, as we walk down the street to say, gee, what do I like about that building and what do I not like? Sacha Frere-Jones is the pop critic for the New Yorker. He will be telling us about his very particular world of American and world pop music. He rose to fame in 2007 when he wrote a piece called A Paler Shade of White, which was a scathing denunciation of the indie and hip-hop industries. Robin Givhan is the fashion editor of the Washington Post. She won the Pulitzer Prize for fashion writing a couple of years ago. This is the first time anybody involved in the world of fashion, writing about fashion, criticizing fashion, anywhere in the world has ever won the Pulitzer Prize. Last year, she was asked to come back to Washington to write for the Post and to be their fashion editor, to cover one person only in addition to fashion. And that person, of course, is Michelle Obama. Robin Givhan is a master, or a mistress, of jumping from field to field, of making the connections between fashion and film and politics, and most importantly, between fashion and power. I think there are two audiences for all of these talks. The first is people who know everything about music and architecture and fashion. And the second, of course, is people who know nothing about music and architecture and fashion. And that's because these critics are all so articulate and so wide-ranging that it would be difficult not to be interested in what they're saying. If you wear clothes, you will be interested in what Robin Givhan is talking about. If you walk by a building, you don't need to own one, you don't even need to live in one, you will be interested in Paul Goldberger. If you listen to any kind of music, you will be interested in Sacha Frere-Jones.